Okay, so to continue on from the previous lesson, as you've seen so far, when it comes to rigging your characters, the process is actually pretty straightforward. All we really have to do is create the vertex groups with the same name as the bounds and then simply assign the vertices to these vertex groups that are surrounding these bounds, right? So wherever the bound goes, the vertices will follow. Now, if you click on this figure over here in the outliner or in the 3D view and press the tab key to go into edit mode, just do A to select, A to deselect everything, and just zoom in over here, shift middle mouse button. Go ahead and click on this vertex, press the shift key down, this one, and this one. Now you've already seen that if we create a vertex group with the same name as this bone and assign these vertices to that vertex group, wherever this bone goes, the vertices will follow. But we can also do this on any bone. So if we go ahead and switch to object mode and click on the armature and make sure that it's in pose mode over here. When you are in pose mode, you can actually right click on the figure and you can right click on the bone to quickly go to it. Go ahead and hover your mouse over here and simply do Control C to copy this name. Now go back to your figure and press tab to go back into edit mode. So the vertices should still be selected. Now if we go ahead and click on the data tab over here, create a new vertex, a group over here, double click inside and then do Control V and press enter and then go ahead and do assign. Now when we go to the modifiers tab, here we can simply attach the armature modifier, right? Now we have to do this correctly, so it's better to actually just move the figure onto the armature. Now before you do this, make sure that you are in object mode on the figure. Okay, so go ahead and click this and now drop it here and just do armature deform. So now when we click on this shoulder bone and press the R key, you can see that the vertices will now follow the shoulder, meaning that vertices don't care which bone they follow, right? That's really going to be our job to figure out as to how to assign these vertices correctly so they follow the correct bounds. So you can already imagine that that is actually going to be a pretty difficult process when you are dealing with a realistic human figure like this. So this is where Blender is going to shine. So what Blender allows you to do is actually let it figure this out for you automatically by simply looking at each bone that you have on your armature and then shooting rays out of these bones. So when these rays hit the vertices, these vertices will simply get assigned to the correct vertex group. Now the thing to understand about these rays is that when they shoot out, they are not going to go beyond your 3D model. They'll stop right over here, okay? Because the bones are inside your 3D model. So if you think about it, if each individual bone does this, right, each bone is simply going to be fighting for the influence for all these individual vertices. Now, in order to understand how this is going to work, we actually have to see it working. So go ahead under File and now simply just reload the file again. Make sure you click on the figure and it has to be in object mode for this to work, right? If you are in edit mode and now click over here and actually drag the figure onto the armature, it's not going to work. It has to be in object mode. Now, if we click on the figure over here and now drag it onto the armature, this time we're going to choose with automatic weights. Now notice what's happening over here, right? It's basically a sequence. Here it's going to add the armature deform, then here it's going to create all the empty groups, then it's going to assign the vertices to all these empty groups. So go ahead and click this. Now you'll notice that Blender is going to think for a few seconds. So we need to first click on the modifiers tab, go ahead and bring this up. And now if we check over here on the data tab, you'll see that it will create all the vertex groups for us. But this time it actually assigned all the vertices to these vertex group. So go ahead and click on the figure and now switch to edit mode over here and A to deselect everything. Let's go ahead and now find this bone inside the vertex group. Go ahead and click this, click inside and type in dev.arm.upper, and this is the vertex group. Now when we click on select, you'll notice that Blender automatically assigned all these vertices to this bone. Now press the 1 key and actually did this for all the bones. So we can do A to deselect everything, click inside over here and press the backspace to see all the vertex group. Now go ahead and scroll all the way to the top. If you click on Dev Hips and click on select and just zoom out, shift middle mouse button, you can see that how it's assigned the vertices to the hips bone. So again, it did this for everybody. So this means that if we switch to object mode over here, zoom in, shift middle mouse button, and now click on this arm bone over here and press the R key to rotate, you will see that the figure is starting to get realistic human figure movements, right? So Blender figured this out for us automatically. We're going to right click to cancel this. If we now click on the shoulder and press the R key, you can see that we can move the shoulder up. What's the most important thing to see here is that remember when we assign the vertices manually to the dev arm bone and when we press the R key to rotate, the vertices were keeping the same exact distance. But this time when we rotate, you can see that the vertices are being manipulated by multiple bones, meaning that the bones are fighting for the influence on these individual vertices. So this time the vertices are not keeping the exact distance from the dev arm bone. And this is what's giving us these nice deforms over here. Right click to cancel that. Just zoom out, shift middle mouse button over here. Now, what you should understand about this process is that when Blender does this automatically, it's basically right now doing about 70% of the work for us, right? So if you click on this and press the R key 2 times, you'll notice that we can start to move the figure like this. Right click to cancel. Now if you go to the right view and just zoom in, shift middle mouse button and click on the head and press the R key, you can see that the head is moving, but if you move it more and more, you'll see that the teeth never got assigned to any bones. So this means that we have to actually tell Blender to fix this issue. Okay, so this is what I mean by it's going to first do 70% of the work. So this is normal behavior. So go ahead and click on the head bone and press Alt R to reset this. Now if you click on the jaw and press the R key, you can see that the jaw is moving, but the nose is coming with it. Right click to cancel. Go ahead and zoom in. Now click on this eye. And if you rotate the eye, you'll see that it's actually deforming pretty much half of the face. Okay, so all this behavior that I'm showing you is actually correct, right? Because we are the ones who are going to have to tell Blender to fix this, meaning that Blender does not know that this is a human figure. It's only basing all these movements on the fact that how we strategically place these bones. But this is what's giving us the ability to get 70% of the work done. Okay, now you'll notice that if we press the 3 key and zoom in over here, shift middle mouse button, as I said, that because we peek the bone out over here, it's going to shoot rays out and try to capture this area over here of the face. And when we press the R key, you can see that that's exactly what's happening over here. Okay, now go ahead and zoom out over here. So what I want to show you is that when you go through this process, what did Blender actually get right? So if you click over here and press the R key, you can see that it definitely did a really good job on the ability to move the upper torso over here. And when we click on the hips over here, it actually did a pretty decent job over here too. Okay, now when we click on this leg over here and press the R key, it actually did a pretty decent job from the front, right? And when we press the 3 key, when we press the R key, you can see that there are definitely issues that are happening in the back over here. So we're going to have to correct this. And if we click over here on this bone, press the R key, it did a pretty good job on this bone, this joint area too. We're going to left click this. Now if you click on the foot and press the R key, it did a really good job over here. And if you click on the toe bone, press the R key, you can see that it's actually doing a really good job on the toes, right? And if you press the A key to select everything and do Alt R, you can reset all the rotations. Remember, you can do Alt R GS to reset the rotation, location, and scale. Now if we click on this bone and go to the top view, zoom in, shift middle mouse button, and press the R key to rotate, you can see that it does a pretty decent job over here too. And over here, if we click on the hand, go to the front view and press the R key, it's going to do a pretty decent job over here. Okay, so there are a few areas that we have to fix, and it's going to be this area over here, it's going to be this area over here. Okay, and if we look at the head, it's going to be definitely the eye area and the jaw area that we have to manually correct over here. Okay, now if we look at the hand, just click on this hand bone and press the period key to home in on it, zoom out, press the 7 key, and then press the 9 key to go to the bottom view, the shift middle mouse button over here. If you just click on this bone and press the R key, you can see that the bone joints are not correctly deforming because these joints actually have to be moved in the correct place. If you look at this one and press the R key 2 times, you can see that this definitely has to be adjusted. So we're going to have to fix this a little later. Right now I just want to show you this concept. Now, so you can see that I think you understand how this is going to work when we go through the actual rigging process. Right now I'm just explaining to you in a nutshell, giving you an overview as to how things are going to work when we go through this process. Now what I want you to notice is go ahead and click on this bone and press the period key to home in on it, zoom in on it, and press the 7 key. Go ahead and zoom out. Now go ahead and press the R key to rotate this like this, and now click on the armature over here and shut that off, and click on the figure and go to the modifiers tab. Okay, now go ahead and just rotate this. What I want you to notice is that how this is deforming, right? We're getting a really nice deform over here. Now if we click over here on the subdivision surface and increase this to 1, we can see that we get very nice deforms here on the joint for the arm over here. Okay, now notice what happens, that if the armature was below the subdivision, you'll see that it's not deforming correctly, right? This is because, again, we're telling it to mathematically create the faces, then we're trying to move all those mathematically generated faces with the armature, and this is where we're getting this weird behavior on these joints. It's not looking correct. But if we move it up over here, we get better deformations. Is because if you shut off the subdivision, you can see that here we're telling Blender to move the low resolution version of the figure first and then apply the subdivision surface, so it will do a better job. Okay, now go ahead and switch this back down to 1 over here, and go ahead and click on the armature and press the 1 key. Go ahead and click on a bone and now do A to select everything and do Alt R to reset everything over here. Now go ahead and click on this figure and make sure that you are on the modifiers tab. Okay, now I'm going to show you something over here. Remember, we're not saving anything in this file, we're just going to reload it again. Click on this bone over here and press the R key. Now notice that this is the speed inside the 3D view that we're going to be working with when we are going to be rigging our model. Okay, now right click to cancel this. Go ahead and click this. Okay, now notice that when we turn off the subdivision surface, now it's just going to be working with a very low resolution version of our figure, and when we press the R key, you'll see that it's actually very fast. Okay, now click on this figure. Go ahead and turn this on, and now when you increase this to 2, meaning that this is just giving you a lot more eye candy in the 3D view, it's going to really slow down over here, right? We're going to right click to cancel this. Now, if we think about this, that if we click on this figure, right, what would happen if we go ahead and apply the mirror modifier? Meaning that we don't want Blender to mathematically calculate the right view all the time when we are rotating the bone over here. Go ahead and actually make sure that you have the figure selected and you are in object mode, and go ahead and apply the mirror modifier. Now we're going to click on this and press the R key. You can see that over here it's still jerky, right? This is because the subdivision surface is doing a lot of calculations. Now let's bring it down to 1 over here. Click over here and press the R key. Now you'll see that it's a lot faster than before, right? Because it doesn't have to do the mirror modifier. Click on this. Now remember, you're not going to do this. I'm just showing you as an example at the very end what would happen, right? When you're ready to UV and wrap your characters after you've rigged them, what would happen? So over here, in order for this to work, you actually want to first move the subdivision up before, and make sure that when you click on the bone, do A to select everything, do Alt R G S to reset everything, click on the figure, and here on the subdivision level 1, you would actually apply this over here. Remember, you would only apply this after you've separated the eyes. Because we're applying it right now, the eyes are going to be basically have too much resolution. You would have separate the eyes, then apply the subdivision on the figure, and then remove the subdivision from the eyes and simply join the eyes back to your figure, so you get a low resolution version of the eyes. So if you zoom in, do tab, you can see that the eyes are having way too many polygons over here. Here I'm just showing you the basic concept. Now if you do tab, now click on this bone and press the R key, notice that how fast it is, right? This is because the only calculations that are happening in the 3D view are really going to be done by the armature deform. Okay, now that's what I wanted to show you. Okay, now again, we're not really going to apply the mirror and the subdivision. It's because we need to keep these on until we are completely satisfied with the rigging process, right? When you're ready to do UV unwrapping, this is when you actually start to cut up the figure so you can start to move on to the steps or texture painting or creating normal maps. You would want to apply the mirror modifier, and of course the subdivision level at least at 1, because when we apply the subdivision at that level 1, and when we do the tab key, you can see that we get the human figure where we can actually use this as a 3D model. I'm going to go ahead and reload this file up. See over here, if you turn this off, as I said, that this is a useless low resolution model. But if we click on this and actually apply the mirror modifier and now apply this at 1, now we get a human figure that we can use. Okay, so anyways, that's what I wanted to show you over here. Just simply reload the file, and I'll see you in the next lesson where we will move on to the next item. Thank you.